Budgeting Lesson 9, Tools for Tracking Spending. In this lesson, you're going to learn about 4 different ways to track your expenses. These are the most commonly used methods that will help you stay successful and on point with your budget. If you're wondering why tracking your expenses is important, it's because tracking your spending on a regular basis can give you an accurate picture of how you're spending your money each month. If you don't track your expenses, then you're not going to know where all your money is going. You'll also run the risk of failing to stick to your budget and never reaching your money goals. That's not what we want for you. Remember, we made this course because we want you to succeed. Now, let's look at different tracking methods to help you make that happen. The first method is the paper and pencil method. This is the timeless old school method, and here's how it works. You write down all of your monthly expenses in a notebook. For your reoccurring bills, you write who you owe the money to, the amount, when it's due, and when you paid it. For your other expenses, if you use cash, you need to hang on to those receipts until you can get to your budgeting notebook and write it down. If you're not a cash person and you typically use a debit card, you'll have to look at your bank statements and write down where you spent the money and how much. You'll then want to split all of your expenses up for the month into different categories and determine how much money you spent in each area, like gas, groceries, coffee, living expenses, and etc. There are pros and cons to every method. The pros for this one: physically writing things down require an active brain. Active brains are really helpful when you're dealing with money because it forces you to think about your actions. The cons: receipts can easily be misplaced and it's easy to forget about those small purchases. Writing everything down can be really time consuming and it's easy to fall behind. If any of these breakdowns happen, it can lead to a busted budget. The second method is the envelope system. This is a tracking method that requires you to pay cash in person. You can set up some auto pays for fixed expenses like your rent or your car payments, but the expenses you pay for in person are supposed to be paid with cash only. The way this works is at the start of each month, you put cash in the envelopes labeled with different category names. Groceries, entertainment, and eating out are just 3 of the most common ways people use the envelope system. For example, you would take your groceries envelope with you when you head to the grocery store. And then when that envelope is empty, your spending on groceries stop. With the envelope system, your money is essentially tracking itself. The pros of this method: it's the powerful way to track your expenses because you're physically watching the money leave the envelope. When you break a $100 bill, there's more of an emotional response to giving the cashier a $100 bill compared to swiping your debit card. This emotional connection to money is proven to help people second guess their purchases and spend less money. The cons are mainly considered around the inconvenience of cash only. Who wants to go inside the gas station to prepay at the register? Who likes counting out and keeping up with coins? What happens if you lose the envelope? Plus, with the rise of online shopping, paying cash isn't always an option. The third method of tracking your expenses is using a spreadsheet. Some people are spreadsheet fanatics, and they'll talk to you about the perks of spreadsheets until the end of time. If that's your personality type, then this method might be for you. The biggest pros with spreadsheets is that the math is automatically done for you. The con or the downside to this is that you have to manually enter your expenses. If you already spend a lot of time on the computer, spreadsheets might be the thing for you. But if they're not, then this method might feel like more of a hassle to you because you have to wait until you can get back to your computer to add your expenses. Do you know what's not a hassle and is typically always by your side? Your phone. Which brings us to our last method, which we believe is the best option for tracking your expenses. The fourth method is using a mobile budgeting app. If you want real-time updates on where your money is going, then a mobile budgeting app might be your best method of tracking. The most popular app on the market right now is the Mint app, which is free to download from your phone's app store, and it connects to your bank accounts. Every time you swipe your debit card or your credit card, it will track and categorize how you spend your money. You can easily customize this for your budget, and it can categorize things like your gas, fast food, restaurants, coffee, and so on. In addition to that, you'll receive weekly alerts on your spending. It doesn't always categorize everything correctly 100% of the time, but it's easy to correct the transactions that are incorrectly categorized. If Mint isn't your style, there are literally dozens of options out there besides Mint. In the download sections of this lesson, we've included a resource guide for different apps that you can use to track your spending. So be sure to check it out and find which one is right for you. Pros for this app: it's going to give you real-time updates on your money and spending. Cons: if you use cash for all of your purchases, you're going to have to manually add your expenses to the app, and it doesn't always categorize everything correctly. The key thing to remember is this: you can't set up your budget and walk away, even with apps. An app doesn't shut down your bank account. You'll still need to monitor your spending and make sure that you don't go over budget. A budget is a plan for your money, but what good is a plan if you don't follow it? No matter what method you choose, you have to make tracking your expenses a habit if you're going to win with money. If you aren't watching where your money is going, you'll always be wondering where it went. But when you put in a little bit of effort and use the right tools, you'll go from just having good intentions to actually making your financial goals a reality. In this lesson, you learned about 4 different ways to track your monthly budget. There are more ways to track your personal finances, but we covered some of the most commonly used ones. Everyone has a different way of tracking their money. Ultimately, the more time-consuming and difficult it is to track your budget, the less likely you are to actually use it. So figure out which method is best for you and stick to it.